We're going to get started, everybody. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Arcuri?
Here.
Mr. Volpa?
Here.
Mr. Bransky?
Here.
Mr. Coyne?
Here.
Mr. D'Elia?
Here.
Mark Ford?
Present.
Mitch Ford?
Here.
Mr. Mahardy?
Here.
Mr. Rotolo?
Here.
Ms. Sesney? Mr. Williams?
Here.
And Mr. Zweig?
Thank you. The audit, Jim?
Yes, Frank's on the, Frank is from Marvin and Company, who did the audit for this past year, the year ending December 31st, 2014. Frank, can you hear us?
I can.
Okay.
Now that you're back on.
Okay. We're getting a little feedback. I'm not sure if you're on speakerphone.
It's his phone.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm on a headset.
Okay. Well, what we have done in the past is that the audit firm and the lead auditor would give a short presentation on the most recent audit. Again, this is for the year ending December 31st, 2014. It's for that 9-month period because we made that switch over from going from a March year end to a December year end. So this is from this is for the period April 1 to December 31st. So go ahead, Frank. Go through the audit.
What I'm going to talk about are the reports on the CAFR. The first report is on the financial information and the supplemental information that's contained in the CAFR. And that report is page 29, and it starts out at the top, the independent auditor's report, and it is directed to the board of directors of the Mohawk Valley Water Authority, because that's who we're engaged by the board members through the audit committee. And it's a report on the financial statements, and as you mentioned, Jim, that it is for the 9 months ended December 31st, 2014, and the information contained in the report is also comparative, and it also has a year ended March 31st, 2014. The second paragraph is about management's responsibility for the financial statements, and it clearly articulates that these are management's financial statements. And in the next paragraph, or the next section, it talks about our responsibility, our job is to render an opinion on those financial statements after conducting our audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards and government auditing standards. And it explains a little bit about what we do in an audit is gather evidence about information that's being presented by management in the CAFR, and we gather that evidence, we look at systems and internal control, we decide what to do, and then we gather evidence to support numbers, disclosures, all kinds of different things that are in that report by management. And at the top of the next page, page 30, we believe that the audit evidence we've obtained is appropriate for us to render an opinion. And that's the next section, the opinion. In our opinion, those combined financial statements present fairly as of December 31st, 14 and March 31st, 14. The balance sheets, okay, and the changes in that position, which is basically the revenues and expenditures by the Mohawk Valley Water Authority and the cash flows of the organization. And we believe that those financial statements are in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles that are appropriate for a governmental entity in the United States. The report goes on to talk about what we call RSI and OI, other information, required supplementary information and other information. Included in that CAFR, which is a lot of pages, is a management discussion and analysis, and that's management's responsibility to put that in there. It's kind of a way of describing to the reader of this report what's going on with the authority for the past year and what's going on, looks into the future too a little bit. What we have to do is describe our responsibility for that information. And we don't audit it. What we do is we make inquiries and we read it to see whether or not it's conflicting with what's going on in the audited financial statements, or there's anything in there that we think is inappropriate. We didn't find anything inappropriate in those in the management discussion and analysis, and we don't take a responsibility for it. We don't express an opinion for it. That's what's in that first RSI section. The OI, other information, is other stuff that management decides to put in the report, and we have to describe our responsibility. And we believe that, in our opinion, the information is fairly stated in relation to the financial statements. So we've looked at certain of the other information, and we're giving an opinion on it. And we say which parts we are. In the introductory section, those are additional analysis, and then there are accompanying schedules, and we clearly articulate the responsibility we take for the other information. Other reporting required by government auditing standards. In addition to the report on the financial statements and the other information and the RSI, there is another report, and it's a report required under government auditing standards, where we have to discuss what we did when we looked at your system for internal control over financial reporting, as well as compliance with laws and regulations. And all that section there at the top of page 31 is doing is making sure that the reader is well aware that there's another set of reports that are part of our responsibility in conducting the audit. And it's important that that's there because those reports, like these reports were on pages 29, 30, and 31, those reports, or that report, which is 2 pages, is on pages 153 and 154, and I'll cover that in just a second. The report is dated June 19, 2015. That's the date at which point we had all of the documentation and responsibility. We got the rep letters back. That's the cutoff date, if you will, for our report. So this report on your financial statements is what's known as an unmodified report. It's a clean report. It means that without reservation, we believe that the financial statements are fairly stated and in conformity with GAAP. Page 153, the independent auditor's report on internal control of financial reporting and compliance with laws and regulations. As part of every audit done under government auditing standards, we have to look at the client's system of internal control over financial reporting. In other words, how do the numbers go from transactions into a general ledger and then get ultimately into the financial statements that make up your year-end financial statements. And what this does, this report does, is explains our responsibility. And it starts out, we audit the financial statements of the entity, and this is a separate report, and it has no impact on our report on the financial statements. It talks about internal control over financial reporting. And what we do when we look at a system of internal control is we don't audit it, we look at the system to determine are there weaknesses in the system of internal control. And if there are weaknesses, they fall into different categories. Material weaknesses, which would be a significant deficiency in internal control. A material weakness would be one where we consider the control not to be operating, and it would allow a financial statement amount that is not correct, that is materially not correct, to enter the financial statements, and no one at the authority would detect it. We found no material weaknesses in our evaluation of your system of internal control. So there's another level which is downgraded, if you will, from a material weakness to a significant deficiency. And a significant deficiency is really defined as, well, it's not as significant as a material weakness, but it's still something that those charged with governance, whether it be the board, whether it be the audit committee, they need to know about it. We didn't find any significant deficiencies as part of our audit. And so that's what this letter is really all about, telling the reader that we looked at the system of internal control, we had no significant findings. Compliance and other entirely correct. We look at compliance with laws, regulations, contracts, and so on and so forth. We have no issues there either. And then the last section of that is really the purpose of the report. The next document is it's called a Status 114 letter. That letter is directed to the Audit Committee of the Board of Directors, and it really is communicating the conduct of the audit, how things went, so on and so forth, and if we had issues in conducting the audit. Part of the information was communicated to you in the engagement letter that was dated April 8th, and then the balance of the information is being communicated here. And it talks about the accounting policies that you have as an organization. We look at them and we look to see whether we think they're appropriate, and we didn't have any issues with that. There have been no changes to the accounting policies. The only thing that happened was you changed your year-end, which is really not a change in accounting policy. Difficulties encountered in performing your audit. There were no difficulties dealing with management, corrected and uncorrected mistakes. As a result of the audit, we had some minor things that we found that were, I think the net was around $15,000 of differences which are clearly not material to the financial statements. And as a result of the audit, we had no proposed audit adjustments to the financial information that was in the CAFR. Disagreements with management. If we have a disagreement with management, sometimes we do in some engagements, we have to report that to the Board of Directors. Most of the time we win the disagreement, because if we don't win, we modify our report, because it has to be a pretty significant thing for us to have a disagreement. Representations, we've got all the representations that I just mentioned. That's the letter that was signed by management dated June 19th, which allowed us to issue our report. Consultations with other independent accountants. Lots of times if you go above and you have a disagreement, the client goes out and consults with another CPA firm. Well, our job is to make sure that if there is a consultation, that the other CPA firm has all the relevant facts. To our knowledge, there were no consultations with other accountants. There were no other audit findings or issues, and then the other matters. It just tells you that we have applied certain limited procedures to some of the information that's contained in the CAFR. Let's see. Restriction on use, it's just that this is a very narrow user group that can use this report, so if other people get it, this is basically telling them that they're on notice that they can't use it for any other purpose or rely on it. The last thing before I do the investment report is we issued a management letter, and if you remember back when I was talking about the report on internal control, when we look at the system of internal control, things fall into categories: material weaknesses, significant deficiencies, and then they go into other matters, things that were not significant to us in doing the audit. I mean, two things that we thought needed to be communicated. One was on procurement policies. In our cash disbursements testing, we noted that there were two instances where competitive price quotes were not obtained, or at least there was no documentation to support it. And there was one instance where a sealed competitive price quote was not obtained. Our recommendation is you have a purchasing policy. You should do as much as you can to adhere to it. The approval of monthly bank reconciliations, this is just a documentation issue. The bank reconciliations are prepared and reviewed by Jim, but there's no sign-off. We're suggesting that, let me say it this way, in our world, if it isn't written down, it didn't happen. We believe that the reconciliations are being reviewed. It would be great if there could be a written sign-off with a signature or initials and the date that indicates that the bank reconciliations have been reviewed. And the last report is the report on compliance with the public authority law. And it's really related to your investment policy procedures and whether or not you comply with them. We audited that, and we believe, in our opinion, that you're in compliance with the requirements for the 9 months ended December 2014.
Okay, Frank, I appreciate it. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Any questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
On the reconciliation, would it be sufficient if at every board meeting, because we meet monthly, if Jim would just announce to the board if there was a reconciliation or there were no reconciliations, and then the board just, at least to be aware of it? Would that suffice, or do you still need to have a sign off on it?
Well, it would be better for us, and I think just about any auditor would agree, that there'll be a sign-off. I think it's great that you might announce it at the board meeting, but I think it's important that Jim take the time to look at the reconciliation, look at the details, test some of the things. If there's something here that doesn't look appropriate, just for us as auditors, it's a lot better to have that documentation on
Maybe
the
just make
actual
an
record.
action item.
We've already done it.
Go ahead.
I'm signing off and taking it. Yep.
And then the purchase, I thought we did have a policy where we did fall within, if it fell within that amount, you didn't need to have it.
That's below $500.
Yeah, there are
Oh,
thresholds.
it's below 500, not 5,000?
Yes, over 500,
You need a
you need to
price
have, yes, you need to get 3 quotes. It's encouraged.
One of the things we occasionally have, like lapses, I guess, for lack of a better term, is if we either had run out with an emergency purchase because of something going on in the field, or if it's a sole source, we have the ability to do that under our policy. Sometimes the justification and the backup doesn't always make it into the record because things are happening so fast, we just didn't go back and do it. We missed it. So sometimes there'll be a purchase like that,
Well,
where the
either-
documentation's not on the record.
Either we have to modify the policy or
Policy,
just
right.
make sure the documentation
Right.
is in there.
Right.
My
It's
concern,
a documentation issue.
yeah,
Yeah.
my concern is that, and I'm not anticipating that there's any issue, but when I read about not having a bid when there should be a bid, my question is, which vendors is this involving? Not so much that it occurred. And so it will, the letter will be part of an audit committee meeting anyway, and we'll take a look at the list at the time. But it really, there should be a way of it not happening. And, you know, I understand about the emergency purchases, and perhaps one of the ways of doing this is to look at, anticipate needs for the year and get some sort of range of, from vendors who would be interested in supplying, because we know what we're gonna buy in emergency purchases. This isn't, it's not a surprise, we know what we're gonna buy. Just like BOCES has an advance bid for the year for things, whether or not they buy them, they just anticipate they will and they get some prices. There should be some way of doing that. This is not a lot of money, this is not a lot of bids, but it just shouldn't happen. So,
I have a question. With regard to the bidding process, what do you recommend if we don't get 3 bids in any instance that might come down the road? Do you suggest rebidding?
Well, it depends on the size of the bid. If it's a major item and you don't get 3 quotes, you gotta ask yourself, why didn't we? And maybe you have to go back out to the prospective bidders and try to rebid it. If it's, you know, if it's something for $6,000 or $7,000 and you have solicited the quotes. In other words, you contacted prospective bidders and you can document, hey, we contacted 8 prospective bidders and only 2 responded.
Yeah.
I think that's okay. You can document that hey, you know, because in essence, the other ones didn't respond and bid, so we only got 2 bidders. And if you can document that, I think it's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Jim?
No, that's it. Very good. Frank, again, thank you very much, and we'll be in touch with you.
Okay, take care.
push the button.
Thank you.
The big button.
Thanks.
Well, congratulations, Jim, that was a good
Yes,
offer.
good audit, again.
Yeah, sorry about the phone. I don't know what happened. Didn't sound very good.
This microphone too close.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's talking into the microphone.
Is there something you want to add here, Bruce?
No, I think the next meeting of the audit committee is to review securing bids for the next round of 3 years. And I think August we were talking about because of the vacation.
We have to do this now. We need to get
Get the
the
bid
requests
out.
out so we can get bids back in. And most firms will come in do preliminary work, so they usually will come in October time period.
So we will be,
It's gonna come up quick.
Meeting soon to let out the bids and talk about a couple of other things. Copies of this are being made. This is the December 31st, so it'll be out there soon. And we have another auditor in the building now, state auditor. Jim, why don't you just...
Right, I think I sent out to most everyone that we received a letter from the state of New York. We were just chosen by the state for an audit, so I guess we're just lucky.
You've been selected.
Not gonna do it.
So they are looking at the period starting April 1st, 2014 up until now. And the young lady is presently in the next room, and she will be here for approximately a month or two.
They never leave.
They never leave.
And she also wanted me to pass along that if any individual board members want to sit and discuss anything with her, she's happy to sit down with you on an individual basis.
She seems very nice.
Yeah.
Very,
Yeah,
It's a random thing, they do this, all year long. Municipalities, school districts, fire departments, you name it.
If anybody's interested, you go to the state controller's website, and they have copies of audits that they've done in other authorities and municipalities.
You say it's a 2-month stay for her. How detailed is the audit?
Well, my understanding of what they do is she's coming in right now and doing an overview to see how we operate. And then based upon that, she'll bring that information back to her staff. They will discuss it to see if there's any areas they want to dig into further. So that's just a process. And she said it could be from the time she started here to the time they issue the report, approximately 2 to 3 months.
And she will find something to comment on.
Definitely.
They always
She's-
do.
No, she said she will find something to comment on.
But let me check that general control of a lot of operation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Essentially, they have been through all the school districts, and now they are moving towards the public authorities, and that's where we popped
I
up.
could name some where they should start.
Yeah, I'm sure you could.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay.
Next item is approval of the quarterly investment statement for the first quarter ending March 31st, 2015.
Second?
Do we need any discussion on this?
No. Just
Anybody opposed? Thank you, moving right along. We also have to approve the minutes for May 18th, of the draft minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Any discussions, the corrections, deletions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. Next item is amended decision regarding establishment of water rates. Who's doing this?
I'll give a brief overview and then I'll ask Ken to take the lead on it. But as you recall, we changed our fiscal year to January 1. At the same time we did that, we voted on a rate structure to take effect January 1. The resolution stated, we thought fairly clearly, that the board was considering a rate adjustment to take effect January 1 to coincide with a new fiscal year that would run January 1 and December 31st. The authority's budget office that oversees people like us has decided that we did not sufficiently declare that we were changing our fiscal year and document it well enough. And we had a series of prolonged discussions and email exchanges. And my answer would have been something vastly different. Ken's more diplomatic. So I'll ask Ken to just explain what's in front of you today.
Right, so, and I have the email from the ABO in front of me where the first sentence reads, "The ABO respectfully disagrees with you," which at least I got respect from them. But that was basically on the issue of whether the initial resolution changed the fiscal year, which is what the big issue was. We thought it did, they said it didn't, and I could have argued with them until we were all gone and they wouldn't have agreed. So what we did is we drafted a resolution, which as you can see, it's 2014-22A, the A being the amendment. It's just to clarify the action of the board that was taken on October 27, 2014. And what we did is second to last paragraph specifically sets out that we're changing the fiscal year to commence on January 1st, and that should take effect January 1, 2015, and continue, until we take further action. And hopefully that will appease them.
We did win half the battle, because initially they said that we were changing our bylaws, and the change in the
Right.
bylaws means we have to notify all the towns, municipalities, and postal libraries and all this stuff. We said we're not changing the bylaws say specifically we have the authority to change the fiscal year, we're just exercising something that's in our bylaws. And they did buy that, so we.
Well, this response may have been because we caught them on that one, though, so.
Yeah.
Other resolutions in your packet, somebody move it? Yes, thanks, Vince, second. Any further discussion on this? This will be our last resolution on this regardless of what they have to say about it.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you. Next item on our agenda, presentation, participation in a research foundation study.
Yep, Research Foundation is a branch of the, it's run, I think, cooperatively by several organizations, but it started under AWWA. They used to call it AWARF, AWWA-URF, Research Foundation. Now they just call it the Water Research Foundation. Every year they put out and solicit proposals for a number of studies ranging from water quality and treatment issues to pipe maintenance. This is an opportunity here where they're going to be doing research on a whole range of broad-based organizational issues within utilities such as us. And when they put these RFPs out, they ask engineering firms that are interested to submit proposals on conducting the study. And those research firms then need partners such as us, and they ask us ahead of time, if we win, would you want to partner on this? And so Connie Schreppel is going to explain the basis of the foundation and our potential participation. We bring this to you tonight because normally these things will ask for services in kind as our financial contribution. In this case, they actually want a financial contribution. And even though we have the money, we've located areas in the budget where we've generated savings that can pay for this 10 times over. It wasn't a specifically budgeted item, so we wanted to make sure that the board was aware of it and had a chance to discuss it before we move forward.
Okay. And this will be my last request from you. And just in your honor, Alice, I've got about 60 slides. Or probably
I was hoping this would be 2 hours.
So anyway, this is as Pat said, the Water Research Foundation. And right now it is only AWWA. Within the next year, they're going to merge with the WEF, which is the sewer side. So it will be a joint research foundation, probably in 2016. So it'll have even more wide, broadened research projects. But what this one is, it's let me go back because I think did I go too fast over what okay, it's actually to encourage innovation in the water industry and wastewater. And so the drivers were, because of the tightening regulations, we don't really worry about water scarcity, but in the rest of the country they do. Our aging infrastructure, declining demand and revenue among the utilities, the silver tsunami, which I guess I'm a part of, and the agnostic public sentiment across the industry. So this was a project team. This RFP went out. Arcadis, which is an engineering firm, and Ed Means Consulting got together and they formed a team. So it's a fairly broad team across the United States, Scotland, the Netherlands, Puerto Rico, and Australia. And as you can see here where we are, we're the only participant in New York State. And one of the reasons that we were asked is because we've been recognized as an innovative water utility. So the objective is to build upon water and non-water industry concepts and equip water and wastewater utilities to foster new ideas and implement new approaches that will transform their organizations and enhance their ability to meet future challenges. So what they're going to do is characterize the research and activities across a large number of water utilities. Going to define the value proposition for innovation, develop a portable organizational framework for fostering innovation, and assemble a guidance document for utilities. So the major tasks is they're going to look at the utilities and do look at the business models, the partner utilities, the profile, what water utilities think are innovative. They're going to look at large utilities and medium utilities and look at how they use innovation. And they're going to do at least 5 detailed case studies to cover categories agreed on by the team. The second task, they're going to have several workshops. They're going to happen fairly quickly, one in September, to look at innovative programs and key opportunities. The second one, defining key attributes to a successful program and building innovative programs. So that will go from September through November. The third task is we're going to develop a guidance manual and also a video targeted to explain why something may be needed to be done that would be on a board member type level, executive management, or for the utility staff. So kind of like showing them how to get a point across as to why we need to do this. As far as our stakeholders, which is our participants, we have monthly conference calls, which are kind of taxing now because they try to fit everybody in from Australia to everywhere, so the time frames are kind of tough. They have what they call a SharePoint site where you can go on and look at all the documents, a discussion site. They're reviewing literature. They're looking at the utilities for their programs. They're going to look at case studies, and they're going to have, of course, the workshop and a guidance review manual. I think it's a really important project, and I think that we should be complimented that we were asked to participate. We've been recognized nationally as an innovative and progressive water system. It's a really impressive international team that's been established, and I think it's good that we participate. It's an opportunity for us to both contribute and to learn, because there's a lot of very progressive other systems that are participants. It's a $5,000 contribution. It is a non-budgeted item right now, but our GIC came in under budget by $73,000, so we're proposing to use $5,000 from that line to help with this project.
I'll move it.
Well, and I agree with him. Who in our staff will be,
Mr. Tangora. And then it will be, he'll pull in who in our company he thinks is appropriate to answer what questions. Okay. Most of it is to look at research that, say, they do on the water quality side and be able to apply that to a business model. Okay, we need GIC, why? And how can you get these points across? And how can you be innovative and actually be ahead of the curve, which is what we've been trying to do for so long. It's kind of pretty much to first help to get this type of thing out to everybody, so it will only help government regulations, and that hopefully they'll look at this and say, man, we need to have some funding instead of another mandate type of thing.
how long is the timeline?
It's about 1.5 years.
Is the SharePoint site open to others?
I'm not sure about that, but Phil will I have the logon now, which I will transfer to him. So, any questions or what you'd like to look
Be
at.
interested if it's available to them.
Yeah. They're talking about almost like type of a whiteboard type presentation once they're done, so that they can use the information. I mean, and there's people on here. This Ed Means Consulting. He's an author. He's very well read, very good on public relations. Mark Le Chevalier, who's for American Water Service Corporation. He's his title is actually Director of Innovation, and so it's a team that's a lot of great ideas will come out of this.
Do you have a list of the team?
I'm sorry?
Do you have a list of the team?
I have it on the slide for all the different water.
You don't know if Teodoro's on it, Professor Teodoro from Texas?
I don't know. That I don't recognize the name. So anyway, that's kind of where we are. And I had to do this one just for you, Bruce. So, even though I couldn't get Phil's hair dark, he's got to keep chasing that brain, so we have, we don't have a water drain. And I thank you.
What's the name of the company that's going to assemble all this information?
Arcadis. They're an engineering firm. Yeah. We've worked with them quite a bit with our GIC research. It was the former Malcolm Kearney.
Oh, so they're local.
They're international.
They have a buffer office.
Yeah.
One of the things we hope to come out of this too is that they're going to be examining organizational models that are built to foster creativity within the organization and innovation. So, you know, we may find coming out of this that there's ways that we can, through our management style and how we organize our employees, be able to break, you know, some of the usual patterns and norm and, you know, quote, think outside the box, problem-solving types of things. So I think it's going to be very useful, and I think Phil Tankor is going to do a great job for us being involved in it.
Any other questions or comments? There's a motion on the table for approval. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Thank you.
I promise not to ask for any more money.
Very good time.
Yeah, right.
You mean in retirement?
Jim, anything on the finances?
Just very quickly, we're down in consumption 2.5 million cubic feet, which is not a heck of a lot compared to previous years.
They'll make it up this month.
Yeah, well, water sales is up by 1.6%, so that's good. And receivables is actually down 150,000, so we're going in the right direction there. And cash is also up. So, we're anticipating making the activated carbon payment, which is close to $800,000, $900,000. That should be coming up July, August time period, so we have to be ready for that. Everything
But
else
that, I mean, we expect that anyway.
yeah, that's why we're trying to build the cash so we can make the payment.
Any questions for Jim? Thank you, Jim. Pat?
A couple quick things. My glasses. Next week, we're going to be filming a new segment, finally, for the Central New York Open House Show. If any of you have seen it on TV, you've seen that we've run these segments. It's really
There's one on Sunday.
It's a great deal, yep. In fact, the one we just had featured Phil about a treatment plan. We're going to do one next week. We'll be filming most of it right here. It's going to be involving our what we call our SCADA system, the way that we monitor a system remotely. The trick is going to be showing everybody how sophisticated we can be monitoring the system without giving away any sort of secrets over TV that might be used against us. So there's some proprietary information, obviously, we have to protect from a security standpoint. Another thing I wanted to mention is that on our automated meter reading with the radio reading system, we're now over 18,000 modems installed and moving along very rapidly. And so far, it's been very reliable. We're getting great information and having great success. So we'll just keep you updated periodically with those. Another thing I wanted to mention, and I'm going to pass something out to all of you, is that within our budget for the year for our, I don't want to call it marketing, but public communications and research, we have set aside some money to do something with Page Communications Group, who is our consultant in that arena. And we're going to be setting up a workshop that's going to take place on Thursday, August 13th, right here in this room at 9 o'clock. It's going to be on branding. I mentioned that I wanted to really get into our brand of the Water Authority and you know, how do we meet public needs and what's the public perception? What do they think when they think of the Mohawk Valley Water Authority? So we're going to have a great cross-section, I think, from the whole company, but I'd also would love to see some board participation for any of you that have any interest and want to sit in on the workshop. It'll be about 3 hours or so. When we come out of it, we're going to have some pretty good plans. One of the deliverables, obviously, is going to be a report on the key points that organizationally we want to convey to the public about who we are, how we operate, and the value that we bring. And so anybody, as I said, from the board, any and all are welcome to sit in. August 13th is Thursday at 9 a.m. and we're going to do that right here in the board room. And you can see the agenda I passed out is what's going to be covered in the workshop. So we hope some good things will come out of it, and we're going to use it to move forward with more communications. It'll at least put some guideline on how we want to communicate and what those messages are going to be. And then I also have, for your reading pleasure, the newest edition of our quarterly newsletter, which is out in print right now, but I'll give you advanced copies. We've kind of revived this. We got away from it for a little bit, but it's something that we feel we can get back to. So this is the latest version. We'll be doing another one. We're going to start work on it within the next 2 weeks. This will start going out, stuffed in the water bill to all customers for 90 days while we cover the whole system. And when that's done, the next one will be ready to go out after that. So you can take that home and look at it if you like. If you have any questions on any of this information, let me know and we'll get answers for you. And other than that, any questions? So
Nice format.
Glad you like it. Glad you like this one.
Any questions for Pat? Thanks, Pat. Any old business? Any new business?
New business. Yes. No known items in new business. I want to ask Dr. Schreppel to come to the floor, please. And our chairman. As you all know from your email, Dr. Schreppel is going to be leaving us at the end of the month. This was, in fact, her last presentation after 35 years, 30 years, I'm sorry.
40 years.
40 years, well, part-time.
40 years? I started here in 1976.
Part-time.
You were what, 6 years old?
Full-time 85.
Great,
Yeah.
I forgot.
But at any rate, so Connie's going to be retiring, well-deserved. You all know everything that she's done for us over the years. Saw us through going from no treatment plant, open reservoirs, Nestea and faucets some time years ago, all those great things, to implementing water filtration at the plant, a ton of chemistry research, a lot of modifications to the system, protecting the water mains from biofilm outbursts, you name it, she's done it. Nationally renowned, known everywhere. I still go to conferences and see people from all over the country, and they always look at my tag, oh, Mohawk Valley, tell Connie I said hi. Very well known. She's contributed immensely to water industry research, served on the board, currently on the board, right, of AWWA?
The national.
The national board. Very well known in the industry, a pillar in the industry. And we, I think, here in the Mohawk Valley have had a fabulous asset for many, many, many years. And people should know just what sort of expertise we've had at the table here. Bruce is saying, get a little closer here. At any rate, we want to first and foremost present you with this plaque in recognition of your many years of outstanding dedication, leadership, and innovation. For both the Utica Water Board of Supply and the Mohawk Valley Water Authority, we are forever grateful. Congratulations upon your retirement. And Sue has,
I'm gonna get it.
Yeah,
We had
so-
cake.
And we're adjourned.
yes, okay. So we encourage you all to stay.
Are you advertising for Shinnecock Market?
Oh, and I should mention too, even though we're adjourned, just if I could take one more minute of your time. Phil, if you wouldn't mind just staying for a second too. Some of you have seen Phil Tangora from time to time. He's been in and out of our meetings. Phil has worked with Connie since 1999. He's been in the organization for about 17 years. Master's degree in biology, also extremely knowledgeable in water treatment, water quality issues. Recently obtained a 1A license in water treatment at our plant, so he is overseeing our treatment plant as well. Saw us through a tough transition up there in the last 2 years. I will tell you that of all the departments here at the Water Authority, and this is nothing against Connie, this was the one department where I really had the least amount of worries about what we're going to do when the department had left. Connie's got huge shoes to fill, but Phil, being a very solid assistant underneath her, has proven himself to be extremely able and will be taking over the department when Connie leaves. I'm sure Connie's
He was
got...
handpicked.
Handpicked, yes. The fact that he's here is also a tribute to Connie's judgment, bringing him on board. So, Phil will be our new Director of Water Quality starting at the beginning of August. And he's going to be here for the next 50 years, seeing us through everything. So,
And looking forward.
Congratulations, Connie. Congratulations, Phil, as well.